Man, I was hanging with the girls earlier. My daughter is doing flag football now, and
Oh,
she didn't really want to do it, which because it's all boys, and her cousin is the only other girl, and her cousin's really athletic. You know, she gonna be all pro. But I got to hang with her older sisters and her, and I'm like, man, y'all growing up too fast. Time is moving fast. So,
You
you
guys had
know,
good weather today?
yeah, the weather's been dope. It's it's been nice. It's hot. You can wear shorts. The wind is blowing. You know what I mean? It's not super sunny. It's been a little cloudy, but it's been nice outside. And
You're in
yeah,
the
man.
DMV, right?
Well, they're in the DMV. I moved down to North Carolina, so I
Oh,
came
nice.
back up because I always go to whatever my daughter has. You know what I mean? I've never missed anything that she does, so I came up here to hang out with her. But I think I'm gonna stay a little longer because I'm gonna hang out with the girls and try to have some talks with them about their future. You know, because one is 18 going 19 or 19, and the other one is 17 going 18, and mine's 13 going 14. So
oh
I
wow.
just, yeah, I just want to sit down and be like, look, y'all need to figure y'all life out now so I can relax.
What are they studying? What are they looking to study?
I don't know, dog. To be honest with you, they're still super young. You know, the kids these days, I feel like they're a little unfocused and stuff. They're a little bit more social media prone. Right now, I just want to get them in shape because they kind of sit around and they're not overweight or nothing, but I just want to make sure that they kind of, I want them to be in shape just because I work out all the time. So I just want them to pick up that skill set. And then I just want them because the oldest wants to move out in I think another 6 months. So I'm like, well, you know, stay at your goddamn mama house until you got enough money because it's hard out here for a pimp. You know what I mean? It ain't easy. So
Right.
don't try to just jump out there. You know what I mean? Um,
Well,
my daughter's doing good in school, but I want her to like be, I want her to find something that she likes and stick with it. She's been doing cheer her whole life, and I'm like, man, cheer is getting kind of old, don't you think? So,
okay. All right, so let me get started because I want to be up here 2 hours tops, and I'm gonna see. Hopefully, we could have a good discussion and make it happen. So, what I put in the title for discussion, um, do illegals pay taxes? Because Jasmine Crockett, she is the gift that keeps on giving. She I guess she was somewhere at a press conference and she was saying how illegals pay billions of dollars annually in taxes. I don't think that's true. I think that number is skewed. And then the second part, I put the truth about Black culture now. And did I put some stuff in the jumbotron? Yes, I did. It was something with Sexy Red, and I probably got to do it again. Something with Sexy Red, supposedly be a CIA plant. Well, an affiliate with the CIA, like she's an industry plant, and I believe it because her music is trash, her image is trash, and it's not positive or whatever. So I want to, in general, talk about Black culture, and I also, I put this under the space in the space in the comment section about Felicia Rashad in her comments on a Breakfast Club saying no man wants their woman to walk around half naked. And she was talking about the young women of today, of today's culture here in America. And I heard she got a lot of backlash. And I'm like, well, why would Felicia Rashad, out of all people, get all this backlash? Because, first of all, what she said was true. But it's just so widely acceptable for women to walk around naked. And then as I'm strolling throughout the day, Jasmine Crockett again. I think this was when she was on Breakfast Club a while back, probably a couple of weeks ago. But she made a comment saying that Byron Donalds, he's a senator. Well, he's a House of Representative and he's running for governor of Florida. And she was like, every skin folk ain't kinfolk, and he's married to a white woman, so he ain't really speaking for Black people. But I'm like, this same bitch that was capable for Kamala Harris, but she married to a white man. Kantaji, she don't know what a woman is. She married to a white man. And a host of other people are married to white men. So what is this woman? She's just a bozo. Um, so yeah, so it doesn't have to be specific to those things, but the topics are the truth about Black culture now, and I want people to share their thoughts and perspectives on it. And do illegals pay taxes? Because yeah, we still need to be talking about illegals and the migrants. Shout out to everybody that's watching. I'm live on YouTube, so because I don't feel like going back editing. And everybody here in the space, please repost this space and share it. Repost and share. And on YouTube, share the live on all of your social media outlets. So, hi,
Also,
Carrie.
guys, bookmark the space. It helps with the algorithm.
Hi. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
really? It does?
Yep.
Well, how
Hey,
do you bookmark
Dana.
it?
On Twitter, if you go to the bottom, you go to the purple pill area, you'll see the bookmark thing. Hit the bookmark icon and you'll bookmark it.
Oh, do I see it as a host?
Yeah, if you go to the bottom, Dana, where the purple pill is, click on that little button, the little word bubble. It'll bring up the purple pill menu, and then you'll see repost, like, and then that little.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yes. I think I
Yep,
did bookmark it before. Okay, so bookmarks work.
yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right. So you want to start off, Peter, with the
Sure,
conversation? Huh,
sure. I
Peter?
hope you and Dana. Hello. I hope you're having a great weekend.
Yeah.
I was just in a space for 5 hours with somebody who knows you, but they didn't like you. Lloyd Kelly. It was actually quite funny. We had a really good space, a lot of good conversation. But
He didn't
um,
like me. Well, who is he?
I don't know. The people in the space weren't happy with some of the things I guess that you say that, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to co-host with that?" I said, "Yeah, that's my people over there." So it was funny.
Oh, you should have invited him.
I think she's
Yeah,
still.
Lloyd Kelly. I used to work with Lloyd Kelly. He's an alright person, but yeah, I used to do Here's the Thing with him. So yeah.
And why you ain't send me the you should have send me the space, but like what they talking about you. I would have loved to come in and listen. I like when people talk about me, honey. As long as
Well,
it's not defamation where I have to sue you. But
Well,
other than
Dana,
that,
I'll be back in there Tuesday. I don't, I picked up the book From Here to Equality because we're doing the reparations conversation again on Tuesday, so
mm,
it should be a good one. But regardless, for this space and for our space here, do illegals pay taxes? Um, I would say they're a net negative, right? They're eking out more benefits from our system than they're paying into it, and they're bringing in other individuals that are also eking off the system. So even if they do pay taxes by having somebody else's social security number that they're paying under, or working under, it's a net negative to us because when they do get sick or something happens to them, they go to the hospital and the hospital has to treat them. They can't turn them away. And then what happens is that cost gets passed on to us through the insurance providers and us having to foot those bills, which are only serving to reduce the value of our money supply by the money being paid out. So I would say if they do pay taxes, it's still a net negative for us, and it's a great thing to see them gone.
yeah. So my thoughts on the taxes. How are they going to pay taxes where they're getting paid under the table? Because they must be taking the numbers from the company that is hiring them. And if the company, or whatever they're paying them, companies have to pay taxes, I believe, on the employees, state and federal. But if you're paying them cash, companies don't have a record of those employees as far as taxes. So, so where do you get $1 billion from?
They're using
They're
somebody
not.
else's social, Dana. That's what I think. That's the argument they're making. They're using other people's social
But
security
Jasmine
numbers.
Crockett said this, and she's a sitting congresswoman. She's in the House. She said it. So I'm like, okay, where you get your data from? And that's what I'm saying. Those numbers are skewed. Now, is she including people who have temporary residence, people who have green cards? See, they're including those people that have some sort of paperwork, but they're not citizens. To whereas a person with a green card will pay taxes, as opposed to someone who crossed the border under the Biden Kamala administration. They none of them didn't pay. Not all those 20 million plus people are not paying taxes. So if she's conflating the numbers from people with green cards, student visas or temporary residence or permanent residence. I think they're using those numbers, which is not, again, those numbers will be skewed because the millions and millions of people they let come in with the open border under Biden, they're not paying taxes, but they were utilizing our taxes.
Dana, there's somebody.
Um,
Oh, you brought them up already. I don't know. We got to watch for trolls. There was a ton of trolls in the last space, so we'll see what
well,
happens.
who is
That's
somebody
because
a troll here?
Lloyd Kelly lets anybody talk, and he lets the white supremacists call him the N word and all types of stuff. That's why I had to leave that show because they were doing too much, and he just allows it. And I'm like, yo, that's
Who
not
who
cool. They
was
can't be
hosting
talking to
that
our people
space?
like that.
Who was hosting that space?
Lloyd
So
was.
I created the space. Like he wouldn't even be doing anything if it wasn't for me. I named the show. Like I was the executive producer of everything. But like me and him fell out because he was letting these white folks, no offense, Peter, he was letting these white folks come up there and just use slanderous names towards black folk and all that and him. Like they was calling us monkey
Oh,
and nigga
Well,
and
he
all that.
started
And
blocking
I
them
said,
today.
yo,
Lifestyle. He did start blocking them today because I was like,
dog, he's
this
been
is
saying
ridiculous.
that. We've been running that. We've been running that since like October of last year, or
oh.
maybe even before
Well, my
that.
thing
And
is,
yeah,
I don't really care. I don't know that person, but I've had a
exactly.
person last year. They did a space about me for 12 whole hours. So and so it's
Hey
again.
man, and I hope your streams go up and people go to look for you instead of like hate you. You know what I mean? Because that's
I don't
publicity.
care. Yeah, but I don't think about that. I don't wish. Oh, I wish they. I don't. That don't cross my mind. But mute up for a second, lifestyle. I don't know. You have some noise and music in the background. I want to go to Carrie. Then I want to go to Will. Carrie,
Hey, how
hi.
are
How
you
are you?
doing, Dan?
Good.
Good. I do look for you, and sometimes I don't YouTube, so I can never find you. But when I see you on here, boy, I just jump on it if I'm around. I think you have a great show, and I try to promote it for you by reposting it. So
I
I
thought you
love
followed
your
me on
posts.
YouTube at the real Dana.
Yeah,
On YouTube,
she's on. Yeah,
no.
she's on
I
YouTube.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not. I don't do
Oh, you
YouTube.
don't do. Okay, okay, okay.
No, I was on one thing you had. It was on X on a space, but you also had it on YouTube somehow. You
Oh
had it
yes,
on
yes,
both.
yes. Yeah, because
Remember?
I have two channels, the real Dana and the real Judge Joe Brown. And so when I do my X spaces, I'm gonna be streaming live on the real Judge Joe Brown YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. But this was someone else other than Judge Joe Brown. Some other guy that you worked with and talking about dating.
Oh, that's Steve. I do that on Saturdays. Yes.
That's
So
hilarious.
I stream that on my main channel, the real Dana, and on X Live. So and that's every
Okay, I
Saturday.
watched
Yes,
that
yes.
a time, but
Yeah.
that was funny. But where's that Crockett getting her numbers? Did they say? Did she say?
She don't never say. She never show receipts.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't know. You could give her any number and she'd say, okay. But anyway, I wouldn't believe them because bottom line, they're not paying shit. They get everything free. Like in South Texas, I go down, I see them. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, they get, when they come to the border, everything. They get more than the average. They get more than I do. Let's just say that. It's just bullshit what they got this past 4 years. I mean, and you asked for something, American citizen, they even got loans. And I was denied loans. This one guy got a loan because he was buying a gal's food cart in California. And she asked him, she goes, do you have cash for this? He goes, yeah, I've got cash. And he goes, I got a loan. And did you see that? It was on Twitter. It was probably about a year ago or two. But yeah, they get everything free. So, and they don't pay taxes. That's BS. Come on. I don't believe that at all. Not unless, they got a green card and I don't think they pay taxes on a green card, but I don't know. I don't understand it all, but living in Texas, it's just ridiculous what they got. And the number of lives too. But anyway, that's all I want to say. I just don't believe it in those. I do not 100% believe that these illegal aliens that Biden let in these past 40 years are paying taxes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to go to Blizz.
And if they did have to pay taxes, they would have to pay more because they're not a citizen. So it doesn't sound right.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Love your
welcome.
space, girl.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Blizz.
Hey Dana, what's going on? How you doing? Thank you for
Good.
having
How
me
are
up.
you?
I'm well, just hanging in there. You already know. I just wanted to speak on this discussion as far as illegal immigrants. I do think it's a great topic because according to VA Virginia, that they're saying that these illegal immigrants are paying sales excess taxes, local property taxes, and state income. But according to the guidelines and the rights, majority of illegal immigrants don't have social security numbers, which you're ordered to have that in order to purchase a mortgage loan. So where are they getting these numbers at? They're saying they're paying about 304 million in these taxes, but it's very difficult for an illegal immigrant to get a mortgage loan or property or purchase any type of property. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they're skewing the numbers to make it seem like, okay, we're being fair, but we're just gonna say we're gonna write anything down just to, to shut us all up. So, but I do think it's all cap. That's my.
Yeah. She's Jasmine Crockett is toting Democrat talking points, and she was talking about Representative Byron Donalds. Oh, they just give him talking points, and he was like, "Yes, massa." And I said to myself, "Bitch, you do the same thing with your party. Whether
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, she was up there something. I wish my daddy loved me as much as Joe Biden loved his son." So again, she
Mm,
take her marching orders from the racist Democrats.
absolutely.
And I heard she was dealing with a white man herself, but whatever. But there's no way if again if they're paying taxes and you don't have a social here, right? You don't have any
Right.
paperwork. A company supposed to take taxes out of their pay, and maybe
Right.
the company is reporting that, but the purpose of companies hiring illegals is to pay them below minimum
To
wage
avoid. Exactly.
and yeah, and avoid taxes because when you are a company and you hiring an employee, especially a corporation, you're not just paying their salary, but you're paying their benefits. So it's two incomes here that a corporation is paying one person, the salary and their benefits. That
Right.
would be their social security, pension, and stuff like that. That's why they hire illegals because they could just pay them a salary below the market and they don't have to report it. I guarantee you that they're using green card, student visas who are working, and permanent residents. They're using those numbers and for how many for taxes. Like how many taxes does this group of people with papers but not citizens?
Exactly.
So
And that's my point. Exactly. And I think that's why I said it's all cap. But you can just put any number out there and then people will just bite off of it. But I mean, if you look at them, if you just go outside and just look at illegal immigrants, you can see how scared they are. So imagine them walking into a bank with that same type of fear. So come on now, get out of here with that. I'm just not going for it. Um,
right.
there's just a waste of space, man. And I try to get an illegal immigrant to. I seen a couple people at the laundromat one time when I just before I had a washer and dryer. So I used to go to the laundromat to wash my kids' clothes and stuff, whatever. And so I seen like six of them hop out of a truck. You know what I mean? And so I said, okay, let me talk to these guys because I need my lawn cut. And not one spoke a lick of English, man. It was just crazy work. Like six of them. I'm trying to speak to them, Yo hablo español, yo hablo inglés, whatever. I was saying, I was just trying, man. They just was looking at me like I have 5 heads. And I'm just like, wow, like how are y'all getting business if you can't even understand a simple greeting? You know what I mean? So it's not adding up, to be honest with you. Like how are they passing um how are they going on job interviews? Do they have a resume? So like, how does that process work? Because I know I have to put in an application every single time, and they give me a call. You know what I'm saying? So how are they getting contacted if they don't speak English? Do they even have phones? Do they even have resumes? Like, come on, like we have to do all the steps from LinkedIn, and we have to make sure our resumes tip top shape, and we're paying for life coaches and and just job coaches and whatnot, and they're just sliding right through the back door, and it's just making it simple as pie, and then AI is taking all of our jobs. So it's pissing me off, man. But I'll lay my plane there, Dana. Thank you.
All right, so I want to bring up also culture. I want to ask you guys, your thoughts on Black culture now. And you don't have to be Black to answer this question. And I say that to say, I go in non-Black spaces, especially if they're talking about Black topics, which I don't mind, and or if they're talking about quote unquote white topics, I still state my opinion. So this question is not just for Black people, it's for everyone. Because I want to get everyone I want to hear everybody's perspective and thoughts on Black culture now. I think that it is trash. I think that the younger generation is making it trash, and the older generation, I'm gonna say even my generation and up, is not correcting them, or maybe they're just too far gone with too much access to be corrected. But I do think Black culture now is trash. I do appreciate what Tariq Nasheed has been doing, as when he does his documentaries and wanting Black people to be proud of the culture and reminding them of our culture here in America. Is too much infiltration in Black culture. A lot of people take from our culture and try to claim it as theirs. So, and so under the whole, the truth about Black culture now, when we have Felicia Rashad speaking about young people and the way they present themselves, and women, Black women pushing back against her, that's a problem, because a lot of people will say, particularly Black men will say, well, Black women contribute to the the destruction of Black culture today. And I can say that about Black men as well, but it's men and women. So I do think that our culture is too much on the negative and not focusing more on the positive. um Go ahead, Peter, then I'm gonna come back to Blizz. And anybody want to request to come up, please do so, and please
Yeah,
repost the
Dan.
space.
And you know, I see this a lot, and I don't know. I get uncomfortable, and I don't like it when people say that this is Black culture. I mean, for me and the people that I associate with, they don't engage in a lot of the things that we see in the media, right? Why can't Black culture be to be highly educated, to be a successful entrepreneur, to be involved in STEM, to be involved in getting things done in the community? I don't know why it has to be that this is Black culture. What's going on with Jasmine Crockett and all these other charlatans that are on TV that are controlled by the Little Hat Group? I think that the paradigm needs to shift into Black culture being one of education and self-reliance and all of the good positive things that we see in society.
I want to say hi, Deborah. I'm surprised you want to request to come up and speak. Blizz.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Peter said, but in a sense, I think our children are being led down a wrong path. In a sense, our children are not being taught like we used to be taught back in the days. Our parents used to really coach us as far as how to dress yourself, how to take care of yourself in the morning, and go about your day and go outside and speak to the old people, carry groceries, things like that. I think we kind of, I think the younger generation, the younger mothers and fathers kind of fell away from that. And I think you got the social media playing a big part in you basically just detonating our culture. But in a sense, when I go out, I do see a lot of kids in the library. I see a lot of black kids uh, doing positive things in the world. I see a lot of black kids getting scholarships. So I think we're doing good, but I think it's just social media is painting a negative picture of the culture. But in a sense, if you go out and you go to schools and you go to certain places, you will see black people actually holding it down. So I don't think it's all right. Like, oh, we're just destructive, but it's social media. It's what the algorithm is playing a big part in that. Is what's going being pushed to your phones. So don't just say, okay, just because you see something on the phone, a kid getting beat up, doesn't mean it's all over the place. Like I hate that. I don't think that's true. And I know if you just go outside of your neighborhood, I'm not sure where you guys live, but if you live in a hood, okay, but the hood is not that bad. But they make it seem like it's bad just because something happens. But things happen everywhere. And I'll land my plane on that.
It's
I
not
Well,
as bad what it used to be.
yeah, Blizz, to your point, I mean, I like it, and you're making a great point. I saw earlier this week on social media some two dudes were in a car. I think they were filming and
Mhm.
talking about gangs in Chicago. And literally,
Right.
as they're filming the video, I don't know if this was staged or not, but it looked pretty real to me. They're getting shot at as they're filming the video of the gang in Chicago.
Mm.
So that like to your point, that's reinforcing the stereotype that, oh man, it's terrible. Like I would never go over there. But I'm
Right.
sure there's plenty of places where that's not occurring in the hood, right? That
Absolutely.
it's it's
Absolutely. And
specific
that's not happening every
area.
day. It's not happening, man. Like I don't get it. Like how, you know, um, I live across the street from a black owned restaurant, right? And you they make it seem like we're so crazy we don't know how to act. But I live across the street from this place for about 2 years. I haven't heard a peep, no violence, no one arguing. I order from there all the time. And like I said, they make it seem like it's such an animalistic behavior from our people, but it's not everywhere, man. So I'm just not falling for that. Most of our people are trying to find themselves spiritually as well as financially. And I think we're holding it down. If you look at Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Boyce Watkins, and a lot of people that are really trying to make a push to put that positive influence out there, I think if we just keep going, we'll be all right. But I understand where you're going from, Dana. I know you see a lot of this negative image out there. The kids sagging their pants, the women just putting the camera right to their booty hole. Like, are you serious? Like, is that all we got to do? Is just put the phone to our
And
booty
and
hole?
I,
Come
and
on,
I
man.
but I
Like
see it.
that
I see it.
is
I see it off
ridiculous.
social media, and I see it in real life, because they want to emulate entertainers like a Sexy Red, Megan Steiner, all those people, whatever. I don't see enough tech. I don't see enough doctors, attorneys, science. I don't see enough young black people being pushed in major areas that is going to give you that high income professional. I don't see enough in trades. Yes, there are kids who are doing those things, but it needs to be more compared to yesteryear. Real quick, I want to do a test. Deborah,
Oh,
okay, you can
it's
hear.
off or on. Okay, yeah. This is good because I live
Well, after
well,
Deborah,
I
I'm gonna
don't
come back to you, lifestyle. Go ahead,
okay.
Deborah.
Okay. Oh, me? Okay. So I live in Bliss. I love what you're saying because I see that every day. I live in Brooklyn and I live near Brooklyn Tech High School, Brooklyn Technical High School. I also live near a Catholic school. There's a couple of middle schools, and then there's a club across the street from me too. And I do see a lot of young blacks being positive, and I think the social media and the media is misrepresenting the majority of the kids. And a lot of the young people, you can tell when they're listening to Tariq or Dr. Watkins or some of these other people because they're so nice, and I think it's being underrated. And there are kids in STEM. but the media doesn't show that either. And you need to, if you go to some of these STEM events, you'll see the parents bringing their children. I was in a couple of Google STEM events, and Black parents were bringing their children, little ones, everybody was bringing their children. So yeah, I think the media is overplaying it. And then also, Dana, when we were younger, or when I was younger, they trained you in trades in high school. And so by the time you finished high school, you knew your trade. You could go into an apprenticeship. And then I heard that they stopped that. And then, like, with the young women, you learned healthcare and hygiene and everything in our health classes. And I'm not sure if they do that anymore. But I didn't know that they disrespected Felicia Rashad, because she's a great mommy. And I think because of her, there are a lot of Black lawyers. And because of that Huxtable thing, there was Black doctors. But I think they, like, somebody didn't want us to continue to escalate our progress. And so they're bringing in people from other countries, because I think I spoke about this intern I had from Africa, and he was telling me over there in the 7th grade they spend the whole year determining what they want to be. Then they look at stuff like Grey's Anatomy and the law shows and all of this, and then they come over here when it's time for high school, and they overtake our kids because they've learned math, the basic way, and they seem to outpace our kids. But I definitely know that they're not better. So I'll land my plane there.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, Dana, do you still hear background?
No, it's cool.
Okay. As far as Miss Rashad, they tore her ass up online, man. I think that it's just a big difference between old school women and new school women, you know. And even on the Breakfast Club, the young lady was like, "You want to wear my jacket?" And she was talking about how on the campuses she sees young ladies basically just wearing, basically nothing. So I think it's just a big disconnect from the old school and the new school. As far as culture, black culture, I feel like it's culture in general. I wouldn't even just call it black culture. Everything that we so-called quote on call black culture is in all culture, you know. I'm seeing that now everywhere. Spanish folk, white folk, Indian folk, Arab folk, they all a part of the culture, you know what I mean, in general. So I think that things are merging culturally wise. And I kind of have to agree with what Peter said earlier and what Bliss said earlier. You know, they kind of hit it on the nose. Like, I think everybody wants to do well, and that most of us want to, be successful in our own right. I think that we're doing well, but I am worried about the children and how much burden we're going to leave on them, right? And so, as a father and like dealing with the girls, I just kind of want to make sure that they go down the right path, and they're doing all right so far. You know what I mean? So. I think that I think Peter and Bliss hit it on the nose.
Yeah, it's crazy, West. I saw something earlier. Cardi B was like doing some promo thing, and her panties weren't even covering her vagina, and she's walking outside. And like I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like it's like bizarro world, and it's just getting worse and worse. It's like a race to the bottom. Like, who could be more degenerate? Even the woman who was on Shannon Sharp's podcast the other day, I had 6 Birkin bags before I had my contract. Like, why would you're going to spend that much
You
money
talking
on,
about she almost got fired from the Breakfast Club. I
Oh,
forgot
just
her name.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Well,
bro?
just
if
hilarious.
Why
well,
She
why
was
would
on
you
Shannon
buy a
Sharp.
bag? You could take the money and buy real
yeah,
estate and
but
it's
Well,
okay,
she
so
said
Peter,
those were investment bags. So
they
she's
they
got
are. I gotta defend
680.
her. I have
Dana,
to
cut
defend
that
her.
out. Cut
I
that
have
out.
no, no. I'm going to defend her with the Birkin. I wish I could afford a Birkin, how a Kelly bag, but those are investment bags. They really are, because
Right.
to buy, if you were to resell it, like you will get you can resell it for more than what you bought it for, because they have like a 3-year backlog.
But Dana, that just proves how retarded we are. Like, imagine I came out with a bag, right? And it's like, oh my God, it's Peter's bag because I gassed it up and I paid influencers and Tom Brady and or his wife and women to wear them. And it's there's the
I mean,
trans
Peter, that's
people.
what the
Okay, so I
tea
got a
bag
push.
is. You've seen the tea bag before, right? Like that's
Well,
that all the
I got to
Bro,
push
it's
back.
garbage. It's a bag.
I don't
It's a
care. I
fucking
don't care,
bag.
because I'm about to push back on you and lifestyle. I'm about to push back on all you men. I don't want to hit. I don't want to hear shit about what bags women buy or shoes. Why? Because y'all men run around here with y'all damn watch clubs. Really?
Oh no, I don't
And
wear
how
no
much
That's
do
watch.
they pay
stupid
for
too.
sneakers, Dana?
That's
Dana, how
stupid
much are the
too.
sneakers? And the sneakers don't eat.
The
They're like,
sneakers, the hats. Don't
yeah.
get. Don't let me start on the cars and remodeling the cars, or the detail y'all put. I don't want to hear shit. Leave our
Dana, you leave
bags
my
and
Dana,
car
our
alone.
shoes
Leave
Dana.
alone.
leave me and Peter's car alone. God damn it.
I
But
like cars.
I'm off that, right? Like when I was younger, I did all that dumb shit. Like I used to have an M5. When I was even younger than that, I souped up a Honda Civic, dropped like $45,000 between port and polishing the engine, turbo kit, everything. Now I look at what I have. I don't need anything else. I don't need anything fancy. I want to take care of my health. I want to be in shape. I want my clothes to fit me and drape nice on my body. And that's it. I don't need watches and this and that. I want investments. I want to park my money and see cash flow every month. That's what I want to do. And that's what
Hey,
we should
Dana,
be
can I?
teaching people.
Well, one thing, one quick thing, and then I'm gonna go to Nora and then Carrie. One quick thing. So just real quick with Just Hilarious, she bought assets that appreciate. So I'm never gonna get mad or criticize someone that have assets that are appreciating. So I'll just say that. So I'm gonna go to Nora, then Carrie.
Yeah, that's why I requested to come up. I understand, like, I used to be pretty ignorant to bags myself, but bags are actually a good investment. Jewelry actually is another great investment. And lastly, obviously, property. The thing is, jewelry and bags are actually more liquid than real estate, believe it or not.
So are shoes.
I mean, the buying clothes and stuff like that is dumb, but jewelry, bags, they will always be worth something and then more. And I guess sneakers, allegedly, but I can only speak for as a woman. I can tell you that those are great investments. Actually, sometimes better than stocks because stocks lose value. And that was what I wanted to say on that.
So
And
Nora,
then
I got a
about
question. What kind of jewelry are because diamonds went down 60% because we got less.
Gold
gold,
and silver.
gold
It
and
Oh, gold
silver.
and
fluctuates.
silver.
It
Yeah,
usually
yeah, yeah.
fluctuates.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about diamonds. And actually, I wouldn't want diamonds because the way diamonds are made is blood diamonds now. But I'm talking about gold and silver.
But you're right. You're right about that, Nora. I have a friend who owns a secondary exchange, right? And he uses a company called Live Auctioneers, where they're running auctions 24/7 out of LA. And he has people that can come to him, and he's got a lot of celebrities actually that come to him to buy products on the secondary market because they can get such a better deal for it, and it's still very good quality. So I agree with you there, but the most liquid product on the face of the planet and the most liquid asset is Bitcoin.
Wow.
I'm learning. Running into these rooms. I'm really interested in the Bitcoin and listening to some of the conversations. That's why I haven't been popping into a lot of rooms because I've been listening. But the just on the Birkin bag, okay, I love shoes. That's my thing. I'll pay money for shoes. And I there's an Italian store, Polini. The shoes used to go at a minimum of like 350, but they last forever. And I got some people that really hate on me because I wore Polini shoes. But anyway, I bought a cheap, it was a knockoff Birkin bag, but I wasn't familiar with the Birkin style at the time. I think I paid $100 for it. And one of my friends is like, Deborah, that's a Birkin bag. And she was going on and on and on about it. And the knockoff, we took it to the store. We looked, the knockoff was very good, and the fact that she thought that it was a Birkin bag, it just really impressed me. I'm like, okay. And I'm hearing that they have some knockoffs now for like 45 or $50, for those that want it. But I like handbags too. I have handbags and I have shoes. That's my thing. That's my drug. And I've lost about $100,000 in mutual funds and stocks, over my work life. So I am checking out the Bitcoin
Okay.
and
Get in,
All
Deborah.
right.
Get in.
Carrie.
Yeah, I agree with Nora about the And then about the bags, I like to invest in my handbag. I think it's worth it. But I don't know about that. I mean, so expensive for that. I'd rather just have a Louis Vuitton.
But you know what?
Oh,
You
Louis
know?
I used to
Vuitton
buy
is so
I used to buy
fake.
the knockoff Louis. I bought the knockoff Louis in Chinatown, and I had
Yeah.
and it was people fighting. I had a sale, and I think I paid $50 for one. I got $100 for the one I paid 50 for.
Oh,
Checkbook,
yeah.
yeah. So people really, like this stuff, or women
I
do anyway.
know.
So
I do. I remember buying a couple bags on the back streets there. I don't know where I was in New York, but they're excellent. They're still
Mm-hmm.
in good shape, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
all right, so
Uh,
I wanna go to the black and then kind of bring it back
yes.
to black culture because
Okay.
we're about to go into women's culture. But
I
segue.
know you're
What up?
right.
What up, the
You keep
black?
talking about bags. But anyway, I was just saying that, like, um, I don't think anyone, black and white, about they're not teaching the children today any respect for
Mm-hmm.
their elders. I mean, I had a kid living below me, or no, above me, and he was so disrespectful to me, and he was like as old as my son, and I would have slapped him if he spoke like that to me. I think they need to have a class on just, being respectful. And so, yeah, like, about wearing the clothing and everything, I guess everyone says it's okay. You know, I don't think it's okay, but, try telling a teenager that.
um
But,
oh,
but anyway, I'm not sure what else. I'll just say that, like, I agree with the Bliss and y'all about, the social media. I think, uh, since I wouldn't go to a site that said black culture personally, unless it was Dana, someone I knew. But I wouldn't go to something like that. I agree with everyone else. It should say something different, but it makes it sound like your culture is like different from the. I mean, it's just crazy. I just wasn't brought up. I brought up like that, and I might say something wrong. I never used to be that way until I moved to the South, and it's just so different down here. You know,
so
I don't know if it makes sense or not,
What do
but
you do? What do you mean is different? I mean, they're disrespectful, or what do you mean when you say?
it seems like the number one, no one's teaching their kids any just manners, like a yes ma'am or
Yes, that's
no
true.
sir, or just being polite, open the door for the old lady, or it's just
and Carrie, you're
nice.
saying this is across the board, all
Yes.
races,
Oh,
all
across the
genders.
board. Yeah, across the board. Because
So
I see it all over the place. And then, if they're not having these technical schools, I went to one. They're really good for kids today. I mean, it puts them right into the job market. So they're not out there hanging around. I mean, I used to do it back in the day. I mean, you got to keep them busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just look at it across the board. But I wouldn't let my child go out dressed like that. I don't care. They would have to cover it up when they came home. But
Yeah.
I think that is just. I think that's why I believe in uniforms. Let's get them all in uniforms at school again. Do they still do that?
Here in New York, you see the kids in uniforms.
Yeah.
The skirts are a little short, but
yeah,
yeah,
but
they
I
wear the
noticed
uniforms.
uniforms are. I see a lot of urban schools in urban areas. Those kids are in uniforms. You go
Mm-hmm.
to the suburbs, they're not. They don't have uniform requirements. So and I think that when you compare socioeconomic backgrounds to where
Mm-hmm.
uniforms, you don't got to worry about your parents, buying school clothes, and maybe they can't afford, name brand school clothes, and other kids
We
can.
should provide those uniforms to all the kids free.
Yeah, but see,
You know.
in suburbia, they don't wear uniforms, but urban public schools, they wear uniforms. I want to go to, I want to go to the Black Cheryl and then Jay Wells. Go ahead, the Black.
What's going on, Dana, Peter, everybody else in the room?
Hey, how are
Hope
you?
everybody having a good Sunday. I'm
Oh,
You
doing all
too, man.
right. Can't complain. Uh, I'm kind of with Peter. I'm simple. I just want a house or two that one wants to make me some residual income from, and just somewhere where I can just let my money sit and it makes money for itself. But to be honest, this like somewhat one reason why I'm kind of jealous of women. Only on this aspect. Don't beat me up. But when it comes down to like how y'all turn cultural things into something you can monetize, like the Birkin bag. If y'all didn't popularize that, it wouldn't be something that you can invest and later on uh, make a profit off of. And that's a lot of things when it comes down to women culture. That's why I understand why capitalism is beginning to just focus on selling to y'all, because y'all the only ones that's really gonna spend money, and I'm not gonna say not care, but if you want it, you want it. And with men, we more reserved. Sometimes, yeah, we get in our modes where we're frivolous, but the market is mainly set for if a man can buy something for a woman or a woman can buy something for herself. So
Mm-hmm.
just like music, a man ain't gonna really like mostly R&B songs until you hear a woman like it, or when it come down to rap culture, now it's mostly pertained towards and selling towards the women. So I look at it as a man. Yeah, I buy me a couple of Birkins just to sell on the resale market, just like shoes, cause the and going to the uniform thing. That's what kind of made the sneaker culture boom. Uh, Cause forcing everybody to wear uniforms, the only way you can express yourself is through your shoes and how unique you can wear them, or what type of shoes you can bring to the table. So that's what made the sneaker market back into like a nostalgia slash uh resale thing. And that's really what capitalism in America is about. If you could make something popular, something as a cultural icon when it comes down to fashion, then you gonna win. And nowadays it's about what can be popularized at the right time. And when it comes down to a lot of things that we sell to women, you can popularize it, but the longevity is what matters with those things. And hey, yeah, if I had a extra 200-300 thousand, I'd buy me like 2-3 cheap Birkins and let it sit for a while, like just hilarious said, because it's smart. But I land there.
The black is it. The market is pretty wild for it. Like if you listed using what my friend created, you give it to him a certain price that you want to get back, and then whatever he makes at the auction over that he keeps. So sometimes he can be making like 25% on top of that purchase price. So for a high ticket item, it could add up.
That's why I'm kind of glad now that the market is kind of up in a frenzy. Overseas, people don't know what to make. Uh, People in America don't know what to make. It's forcing people to either buy something custom made, like our elders used to do back in the day, or it like go to your local craftsman, or you just make it yourself and make it even more unique. And now it's getting back to that. I hope America get back to the small independent manufacturers, so you can get that one-on-one item, or like like we do the Maybachs in the upscale cars. They only make 100 of them. That's why they so expensive. So if we get back to those American made items that it's only 200 to one, that's what makes the rarity and make it even better. And we make everything best anyway.
Mm-hmm. The manufacturing, if it comes back, I know it's gonna, I think if people get back into making things, I think they'll be happier. Families will be happier. Everybody will be happier. The black, have you ever been involved in the designing of a Nike? Because I know that you could have Nikes especially, specially designed, and then they could pick them up. on Fifth Avenue uptown, like 59th Street or whatever. And I thought that was amazing. I just think the whole tennis shoe market is absolutely amazing. I watched the eBay where they would bid for them, and the young lady would check to make sure they were correct or whatever. It's just amazing that sneakers are now more valuable than stocks.
Yeah, yeah.
Y'all better get y'all some
I know on
Pokemon
Nike
cards.
ID.
Them Pokemon cards bigger than
Oh, I have some.
they bigger than Birkins and shoes. You better get you a Pokemon card.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I have some
Pokemon card
old
too.
NBA cards, and when I was following the NBA back in the 90s.
If you ever go to those shows, right, where they have the card shows, they have them
Hmm.
all across the country, but there's a certain rating, right? It's called Gem, I believe, and it gives a rating of the card, and they encase it in plastic. So much money was made there that that these two guys started making counterfeit cards,
Mm,
and some of these cards were going for 65, 70, $80,000.
really?
And
Yeah, the rookie cards were the ones that were supposed to be
insane,
valuable.
Hey,
Yeah.
they
insane.
just
So
caught
so real quick,
dudes out here
I'm
earlier.
gonna go to Cheryl and then Jay Wells, and we're gonna be closing out at 8:55. Um, between 8:55 no later than 9 p.m. So if anybody want to request to come up to get in a conversation, please do so. Please repost and bookmark the space and topics. Do illegals pay taxes and the truth about Black culture now? And also, I want to say shout out to everybody that's on YouTube, Ebony, um, Crimson Tide, Reggie, Alabama, Family Biz. Crimson Tide says the markets are in the trash thanks to Trump. Well, the market's always done that. But you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is this is the time to buy, because I've always heard that when it's low and in the trash, that's when you buy. Because I would say probably by the end of the summer, the market's probably going to be skyrocketing. So it's going to go back up. So yeah,
It's a
go
cycle,
ahead.
Dana. Exactly. It's great advice. You buy when there's blood in the street, even if it's your own blood, is this phrase.
Hmm.
Right. So I want to go to Sherelle and Jay Wells.
You want to go to me in regards to the topic, right?
Yes.
Or are you asking for? Because I know there was some other
No, the
things that,
topics. The
okay.
topic.
Um. So there a population of individuals that are immigrant status that pay taxes? Yes, there are individuals who have paid into the tax system. They may not be quite all the way to the point where they are in citizenship, but there are also those who financially um, do some finances under the table, and that's just a reality that has substantially, um, been in um, the nation like for a while. And I think what's happening right now, because there's so much going on financially within different communities, and just drawing a light to who's contributing as a taxpayer, who's not, um, and the division that causes between who's actually supporting what resources and where they're being allocated, and how to best utilize different resources in a more functional manner. Um, I think that you would have to look into this a little bit more to see if there are any kind of discrepancies. Um, the way to do that, though, you you want to be kind of careful. I know there's vulnerable communities that are just trying to um, they come over and they're barely making it. So now they've got to find different ways to adequately qualify for, different roles and jobs, etc., which is understand they come in and then they have to find a job. And even for Americans, it can be tough to find jobs. So we all know what that looks like and how that feels. So there's no, I'm sure lots of people understand that perspective. So what they end up doing is they get in these different positions that are lower paying roles, et cetera, that are roles that, you know, um, something that they can, help pay for and put food on the table for their families. And then what ultimately happens is some of those resources are then taken back to take care of families or vulnerable families that are inside
Yeah.
their other countries. So that rotation or that circulation of finances is lost here in the allocations towards any kind of economic stability. And so what we have to look at is how can we uh, create incentives for not only just our community and folks that are here in the United States, but also for different folks to be a contributing factor. And this is not to overlook that there are actual individuals who are contributing to their communities, but there are also individuals who the investment is just not on code with what it needs to happen for Americans right now.
So you're saying that illegals do pay taxes, or some of them?
Some, some.
Are these okay? So are you saying illegals or non-citizens? Because earlier in the beginning of the space, I said that Jasmine Crockett, when she made the statement that illegals pay billions in taxes, I don't think that's true. I think she's using numbers of people who have green cards or permanent residents or student visas. They have some type of paperwork, but they're just not citizens, because the 20 million that crossed that border under Biden, none of them aren't paying taxes.
So,
I put the data in the jumbotron, beloved. If y'all want to see the stats,
so I think that what's important to look at is how we cultivate, how we move forward, what kind of solutions do you want to see, and you may be able to speak to that, but I think it's important to overlook uh, how we influence our communities, how we're going to have a circulation of funds economically.
So when we were before the I think 2007, you had to actually register any job with the Department of Labor. So, okay, every job had to be registered with the Department of Labor unless you were paying under the table, but all the jobs, they had categories. I mean, minute categories for every little thing. And somewhere this disappeared because they started closing. When I was younger, I remember my mother would get laid off and she would go to the Department of Labor and they would give her a job and she would get laid off on Friday and she would have a new job on Monday. And that was also the way they could determine how many jobs there were available. Somewhere along the line they started closing departments of labor, and then the immigrants would just show up, and stand outside of these old buildings, and people will hire them and pay them cash under the table. Meanwhile, there's liability if they get hurt, and people just don't care about them. I've seen where a young man, he was like probably about 18, 19. He was putting up a swing set and his finger was almost cut off. And I happened to be in the emergency room, and another white woman and we were getting checked out, and they were going to come check us out and not check him out. And his hand was just dripping with blood. And he had a friend, and the friend was just pacing. And then the translator was there. The translator wouldn't even talk to him. So when the doctor came to see us, we made sure, um, this doctor saw this young man first. He was about to lose his hand. And these are the kind of things that happen, to the illegals when they come over here. Yes, some of them do pay taxes, but a lot of them don't. And then the ones that don't, they could be hurt for life and nobody cares. And my professor told me the same thing. He said, yeah, the kids are being rushed through school to get these diplomas, and then people will hire them, and then they'll get hurt for life, and they'll just throw them off in the emergency room, and they have nothing, nothing to protect them. So but we did have mechanisms in place where this wouldn't happen.
Mhm.
So I
Thanks,
So
Deborah. Oh, and then just to give you an example, like when you go to a grocery store and you go shopping and you pick up your food, you're paying a sales tax. When you do any service inside the United States, you're paying some form of tax. Just
right.
to give you an idea.
yeah, that doesn't count. I'm talking about taxes that come out of your paycheck. So
Excise taxes are taxes just like anything
no
else.
taxes, no, no, no.
They are
I
allocated.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but what Jasmine was talking about, She's saying, oh, they pay taxes just like me, an American, and they don't. It's not the same. It may be the same, like you said, a sales tax when you go in the store. That's just a given. But they do not pay income taxes. They do not pay federal taxes or state taxes like we do. So I want to get to Jay Wells, Black, Duncan, and JG,
Or
um,
property tax, Dana. Property tax.
and property tax. So the only thing that I would say that they're paying equally to us are sales tax when you purchase something, but that's anybody. Go ahead, Jay Wells.
Except food, there's no tax on EBT
Oh,
purchases.
oh, there isn't.
No, ma'am.
Wait a minute. So when they're scanning, the taxes do add up when they total after when they scan and total and taxes, the sell tax come up.
Well, we don't
Not
pay sales
on
tax in
food.
Jersey either, though, on food.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
right. We
pay.
don't. That's right. Yes, some states don't even have that. Yes, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
and on any food that you buy with EBT, there is no sales tax at all.
No, but not even
Oh,
EBT
okay.
in Jersey. In any type of
Well,
food, there's
except
no
for
sales
hot
tax.
food.
It's
Hot
hot
food
food.
is
Well,
not.
prepared items, yeah, because
Actually,
that's like a
hot food is
restaurant type
not
thing.
on EBT.
All
Right.
right, so I want to go to Jay Wells. Is he still up there, Jay Wells?
No, he dropped. I'll bring him back up. I'll see if he wants to request or come back up.
Okay, go ahead, Black. Is Black? Yeah, Black's still there. Go ahead, Black.
Yeah, I'm here. So I can give some, I guess, kind of some firsthand knowledge with regards to whether or not these people are paying taxes or whatever. And I think it's yes, no, and maybe. I think it's the most honest answer. And the reason why I say that is because the illegals definitely are not paying taxes if you are illegal, meaning if you have no documentation. But what if you got that documentation illegally? And this is the thing that's more concerning to me. And I'm gonna give you like a personal reflection on that. I work in the telecommunications industry. And right now I work at I'm at this complex. We're building like the biggest data center on the planet. All right. This is in Georgia, in Atlanta to be specific. This one building that I'm working in, apparently there's about 4,000 plus individuals in this one building. There's going to be like 15 data centers on this property. But in this one particular building, out of those like 4 or 5,000 people, I'm going to safely say about 85 to 90% of those people are of Latin American descent. And they're going to range between the ages of like early 20s to, you know, 50s, 60s, even up in there. So my point is, in this one building, there's more people that are not from this country that are working
Mm,
these jobs that are actually from this country. How is that even possible?
mm,
And these are not like low paying jobs. These are union jobs. Electricians, carpenters, and communications specialists, things of that nature. But you have about 85, 90% of these people that are
mm,
Latina, Latino, or whatever. So I think two things here. We know that there was illegal documentation going on under Biden. Um, so even if these people got the paperwork and are somehow paying taxes, I think the bigger problem is how are they getting in these positions? I'm saying all the way up from, and there's multiple companies, you got to imagine, contracting in these facilities. And on every single level, from the people who own the building, from the head company who's the general contractors, they're all the positions on all of the head places, they're all Latino for the most part, like 80, 90%. Now I'm trying to figure out how this is happening. You're trying to
Wha-
tell me, and this is not a black or white thing. I mean, I'm saying you don't even see many black or white people. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
yeah,
So
that's true.
this is regardless of like a race thing. This is an American thing right now. What's happening is, and I've only been back in America like a year and a half. All right, this is what I'm seeing. They are literally, and we know they flooded the country with illegals from the north and the south of the border. So what's happening now is like maybe in the 90s when people were like, oh yeah, they're just like housekeepers or they're doing the lawn and shit like that. No, no, no. All of that is gone. They are actually maintaining massive salaries and accumulating massive salaries. And these are jobs that ordinarily 20 years ago, these would have been Americans across the board. So I think that's something that we have to really consider as well. This tax thing, what are the implications of that?
Well, Black, I actually interviewed for a position once, and I wish I had taped them, but it was a Latino IT director, and he said, "I'm not going to hire you because you're smarter than me." He told me that. And but the contractors, this data center that's being built, do they have contractors hiring the people, or these are direct hires with the company that's building the data center?
They have it's mostly direct hire. And
Oh,
and they
wow.
have like employment agencies that they compensate on the lower level with the laborers, but these are direct hire. And so again, what you're saying, I mean, these people have like their families in there, their uncles,
Mm-hmm.
aunties, their sisters, their brothers, everybody. They're in there. And on top of this, they're actually this is like collectively, they're malicious towards black people
Yes.
especially, but just Americans in general. They want us out of there. I cannot tell
Yes.
you how many times since I've been in this, equation with these people that they've come. I've seen black people like by like the multiples, like get fired or moved on to another facility week after week after week because some Latino has said something. Put it like this: right now, I am in a situation where I have someone that's a superior over me that don't even speak English.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot even communicate with his entire work crew, but he's over me. How does that happen?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And that's the way where Trump is saying that, English is the language of the country. That's the major problem I've had too, where you got I've run into stuff with the East Indians, and
H-1B visas.
yes, and even though they will be in a position, but they don't comprehend the language. They can speak it, but they don't understand it, and that's what's happening. I've seen that. Yes, Black. There's something wrong with that picture for
Yeah.
sure.
All
I
right,
agree.
so I want to go to Duncan, then JG, then Miss T. Go ahead, Duncan.
Yeah, I don't know if they are taxed, but I don't think they are. And I also heard that they get loans that some of them get loans that we don't have access to. Um, California was proposing that I don't know, was it a loan or a grant, but they was talking about giving them a home grant, right? And so the thing is, I also wonder why would they want to tax people, like not tax people who are coming to this country, but tax people who been in this country since the foundation or the creation of this country. And I don't know if this would be feasible, but I really think that if your people were here before the industrial age, you should not have to pay taxes. A lot of people probably wouldn't agree with that, off this out, in the country. A lot of people probably wouldn't agree with it. But I think being rooted in the United States should mean something, and I think it should. We should be the ones that don't have to pay taxes. That's all I have to say.
All right. Appreciate that. I think so. I think we should not either. And I do believe the Trump administration is trying to float something as far as no more federal taxes. But if your state requires taxes, that's one thing. And I'm like, listen, I hope they do implement that. And if it has to pass Congress, I hope Congress pass it. But I feel as though there should be some stipulations with that. If you are H-1B, if you are a green card holder or permanent residence, if you are a non-citizen, you still got to pay federal. So I think the no tax should only be for American citizens. So let me go to JG. And I didn't see Swordfish. I'm sorry. So JG, Miss T, then Swordfish. Go ahead, JG.
Dana, real quick, I love the
Uh-huh.
program too of the golden ticket, right? Where it's $5 million to come in the country.
Oh yeah, I like that
Well,
too.
some people are complaining and saying it should be higher because apparently that's chump change. I think I don't know how many people already applied for that, but it was a lot. So
Yeah, I think
yeah, I
they should say,
guess.
listen, you could jump the line for 15 million.
Well, and I don't think it's so much a person. I think also it could be corporations applying for those. So you got
But
business
Peter
people
and Dana,
applying.
how about we be able to sell our own citizenships for millions of dollars? You know what I mean? And then we can bounce up
Swap
out of
with
here.
somebody.
I'm just saying,
I'm not swapping my
if
American
y'all want to tell
citizenship.
people they can pay money to get citizenship, why
That's
can't
true.
citizens cash their citizenship out for the same amount, and we could just go do what we want to go do? You feel what I'm
That's
saying?
true
That's
too.
true because
Yeah.
I was thinking
It
about
should be an
renouncing
option.
anyway, and you have to pay to renounce. Use like an exit tax if you have a certain amount of money. So that'd be pretty cool.
All right, so I want to go to JG. Go ahead.
I actually like that lifestyle. I like that idea, man. Balance. But to the topic.
Well, I didn't. I just want to put it out there. That's not my idea. It actually came from Shahid Bolson from Middle Nation. You can look him up on YouTube.
All good. No. For the topic of the room, do illegals pay taxes? And Duncan, thank you for bringing up California because I'm in. They call it the great state of California, and there's so many services out here for illegals until it's just pathetic. So, do they pay taxes? Maybe sales tax, but they can go set up LLCs, pay a flat tax, $800 a year to the state, and run everything through an LLC. So, no, they're not paying taxes. And there are a small number of them, maybe larger than we know with all the corruption in our government, that do get the fake Social Security numbers that they know of people that are no longer here, and they work jobs. And so that may be what Jasmine's talking about. Not sure because they won't be able to collect. So they've known this stuff's been going on for the longest time. But my last point is this. I hope and pray that the rest of the world does not get to the state that California's in. When you can be a non-U.S. citizen and hold a badge and a gun for one of the highest offices of officers in our state, it's absolutely freaking pathetic. And so I don't even know how that works, being a non-citizen, but you can actually have a badge and a gun and arrest somebody and patrol our highways. It's pathetic. So when you've got folks out here that would love to have that job, you mean to tell me there aren't enough legal citizens in the state of California that would love to go and have that job? Specifically, if I look at Black Americans who actually go through heavier scrutiny to even get a job like that. So I'm quite frankly disgusted. I hope that they come and do a deep dive into California and extract all the freaking sludge. And I land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And we have a wide open race over there. I think Grant Cardone has thrown his hat in the ring. I'd love to see him as governor of California.
Greg, the not the that's the other brother.
Yeah, Grant, not Gary. Grant.
Grant Cardone. Oh, he's running for governor in California?
Yeah.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah. I
Yep.
think as a Republican, of course, right?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
If you see, he's been on with the Eric Trump and John Jr. a lot, and
Okay.
he was a surrogate on the campaign. He opened, or I think he opened before Trump came out in Madison Square Garden, before the election. So
Oh, cool. All right. Miss T, then Swordfish.
Hey, Dana, I'm glad I got the chance to
Hi, how
catch
are
your
you?
fireside tonight. And what's up, Peter? I met Peter last night.
hey,
Um,
Miss T, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And shout out to the other family in the room. It's good to see y'all. Happy Sunday. Um, to who was that? Black, and he was talking about the manufactured IDs and the job placements. So they have received these IDs from these NGOs. You know how our driver's license has to have that gold emblem on it. They get a driver's license, but it doesn't have the gold emblem, right? um, and once they get that driver's license, that gives them the authority to apply for everything else. They also get an I-10 number. That is why they're able to buy cars, buy houses. Um, it's called an individual tax ID number. Um, Instead of getting a social security number, they use that. Oh, and to get their businesses, right? And these NGOs do all of this work for them. That's why they could get here on a Friday and have a business by Tuesday or Wednesday. It's already, the NGOs are doing the work on their behalf. And like I said, Dana, they do not, if you receive EBT, there is no tax on human food. I'm not sure if pet food, I remember something years ago where people wanted to be able to get their cat and dog food, especially those who have animals for like CNI dogs and animals for emotional support. And if they weren't working due to some kind of health condition, but they had that emotional support animal, they also wanted to be able to use the food stamps to buy for their animals. So I'm not sure if they pay tax on that, but yeah, that's tax free. Now, the other thing I want to say, and I'm done, they don't have a social security number, but the employer still withholds their tax withholding. Maybe that's what they're talking about as far as paying taxes, that tax withholding that your employer holds, and that goes to state and federal. But no, they don't actually pay taxes. As a matter of fact, they remit more money out of the United States than money they pay for things actually in the United States. They send more money back home than we get a chance to take advantage of here in the US. And I say to Trump, until we get our deficit down, if these immigrants cannot provide for themselves when they come over here, like those that are taking advantage of the $5 million green card, gold card. If you can't provide for yourself, if you have to come over here and immediately go onto a social welfare program, you should not be able to come into the United States if you cannot add to the value. And I'll land there.
Bingo. And that is one of the major problems that over 80% of Americans had towards the Biden administration, with them allowing open borders. And that is the main reason, one of the top main reason that Donald Trump won this election, because of the open border. And they came here and got assistance. So yeah, if you come here and you need to rely on social services, absolutely not, because you didn't pay into it. So yeah, that's major. Swordfish.
Yes, ma'am. Peace to the room. I appreciate this. A really good topic. I want to speak to one element that's not really, or at least I haven't seen referenced. So I guess for starters, let me start by saying this: do illegals pay taxes? In a sense, yes. For the ones that are being paid under the table when they go to the store and they spend money on general stuff, yeah, they're paying taxes. I think the problem that I have with it, which I was surprised that Jasmine Crockett would actually go on record and say that illegals pay, X amount of billions of dollars, is because you leave it open for people who actually pay attention to things, such as me. I used to be a partner for the largest identity theft restoration provider on the globe. The name of this company is called Kroll, Kroll. If you look at them, they're the only company on the planet that actually is identity theft restoration. And when you talk to their experts, one thing they'll inform you of is that for an illegal to get a social, all they got to do is go to the flea market. Socials are sold everywhere in this day and age. So if they were to go to the flea market, purchase a social security number, they are not aware of the concept of paying IRS taxes. So they work under one individual's name, and then they pay taxes on the front end, but they're not responsible because they're not even aware of the fact that they actually have to file taxes every single year. So who is responsible for paying those taxes? The real person. This happens to thousands of
Oh
people.
no.
This happens to thousands of people every single year. They have to be held responsible for income taxes or taxes being paid that they're not aware of, they didn't work for. So when they receive that tax bill, like you owe damn near the same amount in taxes as you actually earn in a year, these people are stuck holding the bag because they don't the high profile social securities are not sold. It's the common man who the common man or woman who earns enough to pay taxes, but they don't earn enough to hire a tax attorney to actually defend themselves in court, because these attorneys cost like $500 an hour. So the only thing they're forced to do is just pay it. So I wanted to highlight that part in the conversation because I would think that as Congress people, they should be aware of these things before they jump out there and they say something so foolish. So I land there.
So I don't see you, swordfish, but I'm interested in that because people do sell the identities, and it's a real easy way to do it because I see people on Facebook saying that they do tax preparation, and that's a way you can get somebody's information and sell their identity. And it just seems like,
Exactly.
yeah, it seems like Congress should be on top of this. In 2025, you should not be able to steal an American's identity. You should not. And I think with I was listening to Elon Musk. That's one of the things, he's making the systems talk to each other, because he said in one situation there was a 9-month-old baby that owned
Yep.
$1 million. Did you guys hear that one? And it's like,
Yep.
once the systems talk, they wouldn't be nobody will be able to just scam like that, because the systems will be able to identify that this baby was just born and there's no way it could own a company. And they also said that people are stealing their baby social security numbers, just to scam. So um, companies like Kroll, the government should be involved in helping people get their identities back. And you shouldn't have to pay $500 an hour for a tax attorney. It should be free if your identity has been stolen. I just wanted to say that.
Real quick, I'm gonna go to Black. I just want to say this because I just remember when you brought up taxes, and I posted it under the space and in the jumbotron. Was that Jackson Hewlett? So it's a journalist. She was on the streets of New York, and Jackson Hewlett, that do the tax return. So all those illegals, and they're still at the Roosevelt Hotel. They are filling out paperwork for them to get an income tax return.
Mm.
And I'm like, how are they going to get an income tax return? They don't have a social, they're not citizens, and they haven't paid into the tax system. And so when she was asking questions, with the camera, one of the guys was like, well, you can't film me or you can't air this. And they, eventually tried to like not talk to her and stuff like that. So she was actually, what it came out, she's exposing how you have these major tax preparer companies helping illegals get a tax return. So I think that's something that maybe we should all, look further into, because there's all types of scams, and you have these corporations that are actually assisting because they get an incentive for that. Go ahead, Black. You had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Dana, and also Miss T. Thank you as well for bringing clarity to all of that whole thing breaks down. But also, I think Trump also is. I don't know if he's done this already via executive order, but I do remember him speaking before and after he was elected regarding that very issue of kind of closing those loopholes to where you pretty much got to show like social security or your birth certificate or something like that in order to get in the game. So hopefully that will come to light, and we'll see some change there. But I also wanted to comment on the second part of the topic, which is like the truth about Black culture. Um, I think that all culture is Black culture, especially in America. And I don't say that facetiously or anything like that, but I want to reference something that's going on right now just to give some clarity to that statement. The current president of Mexico, I can't remember her name, a female. Just recently, she just declared as part of the Constitution that she's recognizing like indigenous culture, and bringing like indigenous Mexicans to the forefront. But also part of that, what and, anybody can go back and look at this. What she said is that she's specifically recognizing Afro-Mexican indigenous people as not only part of the Mexican pantheon and culture, but the progenitor, so the original people of Mexico. They've in the Constitution, they recognize these people as the original people of Mexico. And so we know the story of America, the Americas, North and South. And if you don't, then it's a amazing story. I think everybody should really look into this. But most Black people are the original people of these lands that we call the Americas. That's no really African in our descent. And I think that's part of the culture that more people are talking about and really what's relevant, because what we see going on in pop culture or mainstream culture with Black people, it's going on with the culture, period. But because we have so much influence and we're like literally like a beacon to the rest of the planet, people are going to talk about our culture because so many people are interested in our culture for some would say the right reasons or the wrong reasons. But I think as far as what we're trying to do, as far as coming together as a people, we need to understand that, as Black people go, so go the rest of the country and vice versa. So they wanted a race war under Obama. They never got that. There
Mhm.
were a lot of things that they put in the face of the nation in order to try to proliferate that, but they never got it. Now the next thing is this civil war, and this culture war, and this is what we're seeing right now. The ultimate, I'm saying all this to say, the ultimate plan is to destabilize us, no matter what color you are. If you were born in this country, if you have descent from this country and you have stake here, regardless of whatever we want to talk about the history, they are going to destabilize this because they know America is the firewall for the rest of the planet. And I'll rest there.
Carrie.
Before I lose my train of thought, okay, I just want to say to the gentleman that just spoke, I just think that's I mean, I can really relate to that, what he just said. But, living in South Texas and all these illegal immigrants that come over here, they can't cross the border without the cartel. The cartel is the one in charge. I mean, and so, I mean, they don't like Trump. And it's understandable because, he's screwing with their income. But it's just like anything else, you know. That's it. Thanks.
Thank
Fun
you, Carrie.
fact, fun fact, Miss Rashad, who we were talking about earlier, she was raised in Mexico City. Just a fun fact.
Oh, mm, raised in Mexico City? Are you sure? Because I know they were raised in
Yeah,
Texas.
no,
Yeah, I
her and
thought
her
Texas.
sister, they got she talked about it on YouTube. You'll be able to find it. But her and her sister, her mom and them, they took them out of the states for a little while, I guess during segregation, and they moved to
Oh,
Mexico
I think I
City.
did hear that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, that was a different time. But honestly, I think we all probably just need to brush up. And some people maybe already have the knowledge, but I think everyone, we all should brush up on the relations between America and Mexico. But I would say this is a clear line today. Um, but either way, yeah, I think I did hear that about Felicia Rashad, because they know they're fluent in, I know, Spanish or whatever. But no one didn't really touch on Black culture, and I'm really trying to play
It,
around with
it,
some stuff to see, because I know next week I am going to do a space, and I'm one of the title's going to be is the algorithm racist, because last Sunday it was it was a very popular active space, but it was about are black women racist? And usually if you put black men, especially black women, you get a lot of attention in the algorithm. And Lovely and Third Eye, they held a space yesterday. It was a really good space about black women being stereotyped or profiled, i.e. Clarissa Shields. And that was a really good space. So I'm playing with something here. However, I do like to talk about the illegal migrants, and especially on this particular channel on YouTube, because a lot of that content is on that. Um, so yeah, so I don't know if anybody want to bring up or speak to the black culture. So I'm gonna go to Duncan, and I see Deborah, and I see the black, and I see Swordfish, and I see Ray too. We got about 25, 27 more minutes. So I guess I go to, let me go to Duncan, the black, Deborah, and I don't know if it was a new person that came up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick as I can. I agree that the cartel have a lot to do with immigration, but I don't want to take it. I don't want to kind of remove the government's culpability and responsibility for this situation as well. I think that we're being sold out by the Democrats and the Republicans. The Uniparty, I believe we're being sold out by a certain class of people that want cheap labor, and I think that is a bipartisan issue. I would love to see people who hire illegal immigrants get hit with mandatory minimum sentences, like people who were selling crack cocaine. You know, it amazes me how they can tell if I'm driving without insurance and the proper documents, but for some reason they can't, nip this in the bud with the people who come into our country without the proper documents. So we're being sold out by our own government.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with you on that for sure. For a very long time at that. The delineation, I see you. As soon as we're able to drop someone down, we'll bring you up. Go ahead, the black, and then Deborah.
Uh, yeah, I just want to add, when it comes down to the black culture, uh, I really feel like it's a psyop, and it's coming from the immigrant class, because they bring their culture, their baggage with them when they come over here. So we got to understand that these communities still deal with colorism, something that we have somewhat kind of got past. Because we all understand Black Americans come in a array of colors. So I feel like this gender divide and this colorism issue that we continue to see is coming from outsiders coming into America. Like this Pop the Balloon lady who just got a Netflix deal. I feel like that show is toxic, and it shows us in a bad light. Uh, and funny enough, it's produced by a Nigerian lady. Like many of these outlets that's supposed to be uh, centered in supposed to be for Black Americans or Black people in general in America, it's the fact that they bring a negative light towards us or highlight the small 1% of us that does crime or other bullshit. But at the same time, when it comes to their people that does these things, they generalize it's a black person. But when they're doing something good, they make sure that they emphasize what type of person of color they are. The example is Zoe Daldana that just won the award. She made sure that y'all knew that she was a different type of black person. She was Dominican or whatever she was. Uh, which I'm glad people are doing this and making it uh, a emphasis on where they come from, and so we can weed out those who try to play both sides. Cause at the end of the day, we can't change the social engineering of a black person is black in America, even though they might not be American. But we can make people understand that it's a difference out in the open, that it's black Americans and then it's other type of people of color from different places that don't have the same ideology as us, and because it's making a lot of people uncomfortable that we appreciating our Americanness and our history here. So that's, I feel like that's the real dividing line too. Because when we emphasize that we Americans, you see the more of these videos that's negative towards either the black family or just uh, a gender divide narrative, like we against each other. And when I go out, I see black people with black people. I see a lot of black love. Uh, I don't really see too much interracial stuff, and I don't really see too much people marrying outside of an American person. So it's weird that I see a lot of this, a plethora of this on social media, and it's not really what reality is. So I feel like if we just everybody just say, hey, we agree on closing the borders for a good 50 years, and the people that's already here get them fully amalgamated to American culture, and we decide if we want to bring in new people, but we need to deal with our own personal issues in America. Because every time we get to this crossroad where we come to an agreement or want to deal with our issues, we have a new influx of immigrants that divide us again. And that's one of the major issues that we always have in America. And that's a uniparty type of ideology to keep control of the masses of people who identify as Americans.
Yeah, I agree. And you just gave me an idea with the pop the balloon. That's going to be a topic of discussion for my when me and Peter do the X space on Thursday. So Deborah, then I'm gonna go to delineation, then swordfish and lifestyle, and because we're starting to wind down. Go ahead, Deborah.
So the black, that was excellent. You covered a lot of grains in my head. And it would be cool if there was just some way we could find out who's American and who's not and stop the scamming, and that's why I'm really kind of happy with what's happening with Elon, because he's fixing those computer systems, and that's going to help us. Um, and I'm in a situation where I'm, between cultures, and in a black situation. And the one thing that I'm seeing is they all come here for the money. They come here for the money. They come here for the money. And we're not like that. We've considered ourselves to be American, and we're here and we're dealing with it. And we just want, fair, equitable resources so we can have happy lives. And Carrie, you're absolutely correct. I don't know how old you are, but somewhere I think what happens is if you are a white person and you have empathy for a black person in a situation, because I've had this in a couple of work situations, they get rid of you. So when we're all trying to get along, somebody doesn't like the fact that we're all trying to get along. But the one thing that I do want to say is we have the numbers to kick out the people who don't want us, and we need to do something about that. And as far as black culture goes, I've always seen where, like, here in Brooklyn, like in the projects, the girls used to go to the 99-cent store and get a jean jacket and cut it off to make it fashionable. And then you see Ralph Lauren selling the same style, with better stitching for like 700-800 bucks. So I think culture is always built upon black culture, and they come into the impoverished areas to do it. And now it's spread, it's globally spread. So I don't know what we could do to grab our culture back, but I think us delineating from others, I think that's one of the best things that we can do. And you guys, I appreciate this. It's good therapy. I'm glad you do this. Thank you.
Um, Delineation.
Hey, how's it going, Miss Dana?
Hey,
It's me,
hi.
Roland. Hey, yeah, I texted you or sent my book over to you, the
Yeah, I
digital
did.
one.
I got it. How many pages is it?
253, sweetheart.
Oh, God. All right.
I'm sorry. It would have been longer, but I know I had to tie it up because I the second edition I'm gonna add a couple chapters in, but yeah, it's really long. I definitely want to say, do illegals pay taxes? They say they do, right? With these fake SIN numbers that they got, or worker permit numbers, or something like that. But I don't think they do. I'm gonna be honest. Like I try to Google up some numbers to see how much are they actually contributing to the economy, and I really don't think that that's really the case. It's like unaccounted for. Are you saying that in response of the Doge investigation, Miss Dana? If you mind me
It's in
asking.
response to Jasmine Crockett, dumbass, talking about some illegals pay billions of dollars in taxes annually.
Okay. So that was okay. I've heard this argument, and my thing is, if they're getting propped up by the government, is it really an investment, or are they just spending back the money that we have given, or society has given them?
Great point.
Um, so that will be the perspective that I'm coming from. So just because they're practicing synergy in an economic sense, um, kudos. That's what good citizens do. So they get a gold ribbon for. I don't think that that builds good moral citizenship character. I see a major character flaw, which reason why they left their nation, right? Um, but I don't want to go too far into that road. But that's just my observation of what you put in the title, and I find it very interesting.
And did you want to comment on Black culture today?
Yeah, Black culture today. The truth about Black culture today is for Negro Black American people. It's not people all around the world.
Mhm.
People all around the world think that they're entitled to Black culture, Black society, Black intellectual property, thoughts, etc. But it doesn't belong to them. No different from scholarships and everything else that they try to steal underneath the guise of flat blackness. So the truth about Black culture is it's for Black American folks, and we know who we are.
Cool. Swordfish, and then I'm gonna go to Carrie, then lifestyle.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, I was gonna say that I have to side with the brother that spoke earlier about the average Black American more than likely has a bloodline that's tied directly to these lands that we call North America and South America. Black culture is a very ancient culture. We were told different. We were educated by way of the school system that our culture is toxic, our culture is this, our culture is that. But we actually have one of the most influential cultures, and it's not only been today, but this is a ancient way of doing things. So if you guys look at the image that I posted to the top, this is actually a picture that I took when I went down to Costa Rica, because I my part-time hobby is history. So whenever I get a chance, I like to go out and see how other countries depict their indigenous population. So I went down to Costa Rica 2 years ago in January, and this is how they depicted the pre-Columbian Costa Ricans. So why do I say that Black Americans have an ancient culture? Look at how they dressed back then. Don't we still see what we call niggas today walking around with ice on their neck, ice on their wrists? They like the style, they like to get fly, they like to dress. I was trying to pull up another. Oh, and by the way, this guy would be considered an indigenous personnel or American Indian or whatever you want to call them. You have tons of the indigenous population that are being depicted as melanated, deeply melanated people. And one of the things that you always saw was they always was fly. They always had gold. They had gold teeth. They had dreadlocks. The same thing people do today. What else is black culture? Shit that women grew up doing as little girls. Hopscotch, playing jacks. What boys do? Throw them up, bust them up. When some of the Europeans came over here, one of the things that they saw, especially when they pulled up in Florida, was people playing baseball. They didn't call it that. That's the name today, but they saw baseball. When they went down to Mexico and down in that area, they had what was called ball courts, which is basically a consolidated version of basketball and football together. I can actually post a picture of that. I went down to Mexico and took some pictures of that. And it's literally a football field. One chief sits on one end, another chief sits on another, and rather than the basketball goals being at the end of the field, they're actually on the side and they're turned sideways. So you would throw it through the hoop rather than shooting it with an arc like Steph Curry. What else is black culture? Shit, or American indigenous culture as well. Collard greens, fried chicken, mac and cheese, pancakes, bacon, and eggs in the morning. Waking up every single Saturday and cleaning the whole house, listening to your grandma, listening to your grandpa, sitting down at their feet and listening to the stories that they tell about, their upbringing and things of that nature. Also having some badass cousins in your family that your family tell you to stay away from sometimes. So I say all that to say 9 times out of 10, I highly encourage people to do their family tree, especially since they might be considering giving up their citizenship. Because what could potentially happen, and this is coming from someone who actually studies the law. I don't have a law degree, but I just love to read and I love to understand what actually happened here on these lands. If you give up your citizenship, let's say if you get a nice payout, wherever you decide to go, they can charge you whatever they want for you to come in. So would it really be worth it to become a second class citizen somewhere else when you can actually, make things right here on the land where you potentially could come from? Now, some of us might not be from here, but the whole goal is just to do your family tree and see where it takes you and claim whatever's there. Some of us are African, some of us are Indian, some of us are European. Don't really matter. Just make sure you claiming where you're from. And the only way you can figure that out is by doing your family tree. And 9 times out of 10, you'll see that the same things you did today, if you go back and pull up some of those old books from the archives, whether it's Library of Congress or archives.org or whatever you can find, you'll see that these things have been going on for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. So that's black culture. It's just been perverted. I land right there.
Appreciate it. Carrie, then lifestyle, and then we'll close it out.
Okay, I just say ditto to you before me, and I definitely agree because um, being in the culture of Russian, my grandparents came over from Russia, so like it's just like I'm 50% Russian, so it's like they would speak Russian at the I'm telling you, they would speak Russian at the Christmas table. And I would ask my mother, do you understand what they're saying? She said no. So, it's just like when you're white and you're across the table from a Hispanic person and you don't know what they're talking about, but anyway, it does come both ways, but we had to work to get our fucking card. My grandparents had to work in coal mines and work in bad conditions that they needed the wife to come to help clean and wash their clothing in order for them to rest because they had to work in the coal mines or steel mills. And that's the industry I came from. But it's just hard industry. These are tough fucking guys, and it's just like people today don't even respect these people. It's just sad, but it's because we don't promote it as much, and the media is bad for our children, and it's bad for us too. I don't, I, I don't like the fucking media. Sorry about the language. I'm really trying, working at it with the F word, you know? But then I say the C word, or what is it? Is it K or C? I don't know. So I'll stick to the other words. I get in trouble, you know? I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I was about
Have
to
a
say,
good night,
Carrie, watch the
Dana.
F's. All right, go ahead, lifestyle.
Shout out to everybody who was speaking. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dana, for letting me up and inviting me. Shout out to Miss T. I remember you, beloved. Delineation. I remember we had a strong conversation. Shout out to you. And I stand corrected in this statement slash question. Didn't you used to, when you came to America from any nation, didn't you used to have to get an education about America and Americans and Black history and just American history in general? I don't know if any immigrant is getting that education anymore. I know they go.
No, I don't think
I
so.
know they go through
I don't think
I
so.
know they go through ESL, right, so they can learn how to speak basic English. But yeah, a lot of people that come, and it doesn't matter what
No.
nation you come from, whether you coming from the South Americas or you coming from the eastern part of the world. I don't think they're getting the education about America and American history like they used to be. And what I would just say as a statement is that Black Americans should take the forefront and start educating all these nations about us instead of letting the propaganda and the media educate them, right? Because they see pictures on TikTok and screens and all that, right? And they think that that's how these people are, or that's how this person is, and whatever, whatever. But we should hold the reins and say, yeah, get your asses in class and let us teach you some things. You know what I mean? And I'll land there.
Um, all right, so this was a great space, and before I hand it over to you, Peter, um, I just want to say, because Peter, you mentioned that it was another space, someone who I don't know, I really don't give a shit, but was talking shit about me. I don't know how my name came up, but I look at it like this. I look at it, everybody. It's okay for people to disagree. You don't have to agree with things I say. You could, you know, have a strong opinion against things that I've say or my perspectives or whatever, whatever. But I like to have dialogue, and that's what makes a discussion and learning new things, and maturity, when you have a dialogue, especially when you having a dialogue with someone who you disagree with, whether they piss you off or not. So I think the next time, listen, Peter, if you in any space and they talking quote unquote shit about me, or I don't like her because X, Y, Z, but like, well, come over in her space and tell her. Because if I don't go around saying, well, I don't like that person. If I disagree with someone, I always like to have that conversation and that discourse. And if you can't have discourse, then I look at it being a content creator, because when anyone hosts an X space, you're actually a content creator. And this is what I do for a living. So I always look at it, okay, you don't like what I said. So what? You want to have a conversation about it? But next time, and invite them over. Since if you could talk shit about me behind my back, then talk shit to me to my face. But I don't have
Dana, somebody just told me something that you need to hear. You're doing something right.
oh
You're doing something right. If they're doing that, then that means what you're
exactly.
doing. Yes.
I done had a person, a woman, well, female, held a 12-hour space about
Oh,
me. This was like towards the end of last year. And I'm like, and people were sending me links. It's like, I'm not going, what, and spaces like that.
Hey, I'm pretty ignorant, Dana. What did you
I
do?
ain't do nothing because, well, of course I downloaded the space. But and I had someone go through it just to make sure, listen, it was no quote unquote defamation. But other than that, I don't give a shit, because what I said in somebody else's space really upset that person.
Dana, they just mad that you not only are you fly and intelligent, but you fine too. So they
Oh
mad
yeah,
at all three of the
well, it
above.
wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was they didn't like that I called certain black people niggers, which I don't give a shit. So then they go and hold the space. She's black and or allegedly black, and she called black people niggas. So it was all 12 hours, right? And then you know how a space evolved into other stuff. But my name was a title. That was the main focus. And I look at it,
What?
you right, Deborah, you must be doing something right when
Yes.
people constantly want to talk about you. So I love it. I embrace it as long as it's not defamation or doxing, honey. Because yes, I will slam. I don't care if you broke or not. I will slam a lawsuit, honey, so you could go through that stress. But other than that, I don't care. So yeah, so I said I had to say, Peter, next time invite them over to the space. But like, well, continue the dialogue with her. Blah 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 blah
We
blah.
got to make sure you have all of your cowboy hats. Are there any colors you need?
It was the end of the space, Dana, and I definitely will. But they weren't going to come anyway. I said, why don't you guys come? They were like, nah. It really turned into your caping for white people,
Who,
because
me?
that
Mm.
yeah, that's
Why? Because
that's
I
what
have you as a co-host.
that and the things that you've said. So
But what
it
did I
turned.
say? What did they say that I said?
And by the way, we love Peter. You know what I mean?
I
Because
appreciate
Peter's
you.
been in a lot of black spaces, and black fist to Peter for having a balanced opinion and standing behind black
Well,
folk. By the way,
But Peter not white. He's
I was
Sicilian.
exercising DEI. That's why I even reached out to Peter on purpose to host the space. So yeah, I wanted someone white. So what is that? Affirmative
But Peter's not
affirmative
white. He's
action.
Sicilian. Put some respect on his
That's true.
Sicilianness.
But
Gabla,
he's
thank
like,
you. I
right, he's
appreciate that.
Sicilian, so he do got some African blood, probably more than me. But what were they? What was it that they said that I said that they didn't like?
So they don't like Judge Joe either, and
Oh, that's why.
Say, I
yeah,
love Judge Joe Brown.
I
I,
love
Fuck
Judge
yeah.
them if
Joe.
they don't like Judge Joe. That's all I have to. I love Judge Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Judge is the smartest man on the planet. He is
yeah,
brilliant
I
at
ain't
it's
gonna lie,
everything.
Dana. At first,
Absolutely,
I had beef with
absolutely.
you, cause I ain't gonna lie, I did like Judge better on with UIOB, but the way that you structure things, I understand the way you do things. Cause when it comes down to YouTube, you gotta be strict on certain things, or you gonna get demonetized, or they
Oh
gonna
yeah,
shadow
yeah.
ban
We
you.
but see, he was and I always say this. I first saw him on We All Be, and then of course he had his own show with Valerie Denise. But We All Be, he's not really on YouTube a lot. And then
Yeah, they don't shadow ban him. That's why he don't make content no more.
and then but
What?
actually I
He
gotta
had
bring
It's
great
too
I do
stressful.
content.
need to bring him on my platform because he's highly intelligent and you talk about history, like he knows a lot of history. So yeah, Ron, shout out to Ron. But yeah, but Ron,
But you gotta look at his resume, huh,
it was
Dana? It's
but with
unbelievable.
Ron, it was just it was a different his platform was a different format. It was really interview style, but what me and the judge do is more of a show, even though he does most of the talking, which is fine, but just a slightly difference of how we run our platform. But I just say all that to say, like, yeah, I look at it like this. Anybody that got a problem with what I said or disagreement, have a discourse. You don't have to I don't got time to be talking shit. Well, I don't like her, but I see that too much. To me, that's childish. Just have a discourse, and then maybe you walk away agreeing or continue to disagree. But I always like to learn something new from people. I learned a lot today. That's why I want to say thank you to everybody on YouTube that's been in the chat and listening on YouTube. Everybody in this space that's been listening, and all of the speakers. Thank you for bringing great content and dialogue to this conversation. And yes, I did walk away learning a lot. So go ahead, Peter.
What's your YouTube channel?
The YouTube channel is called The Real Dana. I need to I think I put the link in my profile, but I need to check that and update that. But it's called The Real Dana. This I'm airing live on YouTube under my other channel is called The Real Judge Joe Brown. So the main one is The Real Dana, and then the second one is The Real Judge Joe Brown, and then I have a third one called The Dusty Chronicles. So yeah. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay,
Dana,
thank
you
you.
know we love you.
I just want to plug the show as well. The content on YouTube is really very high level, and Judge goes in with Dana and breaks a lot of things down. So you should definitely tune in and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe button over there. And I love doing these spaces. I learn a lot myself, and I love talking to people and having dialogue. And I think that's how we bring people together and come to consensus. At the end of the day, we're a lot of us in here are Americans. I would say probably all of us, depending if we have some like people coming in from across the pond. But yeah, I'm here for it. I love it, and today was a great conversation. Looking forward to more of them, and keep coming back.
All right. See you guys. Thursday. Judge will be back on X Tuesday. Me and Peter be back Thursday, and I'm gonna hit you in the message. And everybody, go to the Real Dana right now and check out episode 11 for Injustice for All with Judge Joe Brown. It dropped right now at the Real Dana on YouTube.